Hi everyone, and we're back with more Sword of Convalaria. I've been working my way through Tower of Conquest, and it's been quite a journey. Originally, I was just able to auto the stages without any problem, but after a certain point, you just can't do that anymore. I was using the auto to my advantage because I can't manual stages while editing videos, so I would just auto the stages while I'm editing the video as a good way for me to get two things done at once. So after I posted my video yesterday, I decided to focus on making progress in the game, and Tower of Conquest was one of the things I was working on. And it was actually going really well up until 4-5. I mean, by this point, they're level 40. I'm only level 31, 32 when I was trying it originally. So one of the problems I had was I'm really underleveled. So that doesn't really help all that much either. But the stages are just harder and more challenging as well. In addition, the enemies also have special buffs, so you have to pay attention to that. And you really need to use the terrain and objects of the battlefield to your advantage. My team works best by clumping them up and trying to tank the enemy and picking them off one by one. But in stage 4-5, I can't really do that because it's an open battlefield. So I had to really change how I was doing things in this particular stage. Well, I changed it up a little bit. I decided that the best course of action was to lure them to the right so that I can use the exploding crystal and poison bag on the side and deal damage to the enemies when they clumped up next to those objects. And then I retreated back to the right corner so that I can slowly pick off the enemies one by one, because they always would end up in a line, and I was able to take them out one by one instead of them surrounding me and then taking out all of my allies quickly. And trust me, I wanted to move in sometimes to just deal damage, regardless of how low the damage was. But I knew I had to be patient so I could time all of the attacks right so I could take out the enemies. Because the healers would just heal them back up and everything you did would be for nothing. So I had to time everything right. And yeah, this battle took a while, but I got it done. And now I'm halfway through the next floor, so I can just keep moving along and get as many of these rewards as I can. So if you get stuck, definitely consider manualing. I know a lot of people just push auto, and the AI is not that great. They don't take the special features of the stage into account. Your allies just kind of do whatever. I've seen that in story as well. Some of the stages just won't work because the AI is not that great. Another piece of advice is, don't worry about the level requirements. You can definitely beat these stages with teams that are much lower levels than what is stated or recommended there. So definitely push forward as much as you can. Don't worry about the level requirements and think that, oh, I won't be able to do it because I'm so underleveled. You definitely can. Use absolutely everything to your advantage on the terrain. For instance, when you start a stage, look around the entire map, see what objects there are, see if there's locations you can go with your team to protect yourself, to make the enemies come to you. In a lot of these stages, the enemies will not move unless you lure them in. I personally use Inanna's Guard to do that, but you could just use any tank unit to do it. And the exploding objects really come in handy in these stages. So pay attention to where those are so that you can use them to your advantage. Wait till the enemies clump up next to them and then make them explode. Or you can use knockback with one of your characters to push them into the range. But the exploding objects really help you with thinning out the enemies first, and then you can just use your characters to finish them off. You can also always throw them over the side. That's another problem with Stage 4-3, you can't really do that. So you couldn't really cheat code your way to victory with that stage. Beating this stage took a while, but you just have to be patient sometimes, and it all works out in the end. Just pick away at the enemies, and you'll find victory in the end. Stage 5-3 was another funny one. You really have to use different strategies for all of these stages. I really like that a lot about this particular mode because it doesn't get boring. You aren't just using the same strategy over and over and over again. They really make you think about what you should do. For 5-3, I had to use a completely different strategy. However, remember the knockback strategy I said before? It works really well for 5-3. You really don't have to do much on this particular stage. You do have to time your skills right. You also need to place your characters on the battlefield properly and move them so that the enemy gets baited into moving in a certain way, so that you can throw them off the side. I actually found this to be the best way of beating this particular stage. The only thing I want to note is the enemy with the aura around it is the only one that you can't knock off the edge. So you have to beat that one enemy traditionally, but the rest of them you can just throw off the side. This is another stage where you have to be patient and time your skills right. It helps having multiple characters that can knock back enemies though. I do use multiple characters who can use knockback, which is very helpful for a stage like this. I think the battle speaks for itself, so I'm just gonna let that rock out. I already explained my thought process behind how I did this stage, so you'll see what I mean when you're watching it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.